Good morning and Assalamu alaikum to all the audience of the Shared Pen Official. As we all know that every time we come here on this platform with a new guest just to interact the guest with our blooming writers, and today again here in front of you with a new guest. We will introduce the guest a bit later. Firstly, I will tell you something about the Shared Pen Official. As you all know that Shared Pen Official is a local platform for the blooming writers. This platform provides the nourishment to all the blooming writers who are at the beginning of the stage and want to get a good name in this field. So I request all of you to just go to the share YouTube channel of the Shared Pen Official and just subscribe it there so that you can always get to the good guests and the personalities who can give you the knowledge about the poetry writings and every content related to the writing. So today we are joined by the one of the influential poet, and she hasn't yet got much name in this field, but I believe that the depth of her pen and the power of her pen will soon get her a good name in this field, as the depth of her pen made and compelled us to bring her here on this platform. So, a welcome here, Shireen Haider. She's from Hyderabad. She has taken her initial studies from the Kuwait, and now she's the resident of Hyderabad. And she has been the teacher from since a long period of time, almost from more than a 10 years. She's teaching her students. And now I welcome here Miss Shireen Haider in front of our guests. And so, thank you for joining us, ma'am.
Thank you so much for a warm welcome. I feel really honored to be here today. Thank you so much for giving me this
Okay, ma'am. As,
opportunity.
as as I have already introduced it to our guests that who the ma'am is here, so I would like to hear a few lines from you about you and how you started your journey and the achievements which you have got. So just a short introduction.
Yeah, my I was a literature student, so I was made to learn a lot of good poems by good writers, the classics. So we went through a lot of beautiful poetry and analyzing. But my own journey, it was very interesting. It was a beautiful rainy morning. And I was just sitting with my cup of coffee and just looking out of the window. And I just heard some birds chirping. And I don't know what made me just start writing on spot. I'm an on spot writer. Even the poetry prompts I do, I never sit and think. Any word, any whether it's Urdu, English, it's within 5 minutes I write my poetry. I do the editing later in the sense if there's a grammatical error or spelling mistake. But what my thoughts are within the first 5 minutes. So it was a lovely morning and the birds and nature, I don't know, it just made me write. And that's how my journey started. Then I started just penning down my thoughts about the morning, coffee, flowers, or any social issues, anything. It was just whatever took my fancy. I have my own blog too. So there are a couple of short stories I've written, articles, motivational posts. My Insta page has my official poems and it's my official poetry page. But my blog has more of my write-ups. But I don't know. My motivation, inspiration comes from a lot of things: real life events, any social issues, anything pertaining to what's happening around me. So that's how it just started one day, and it's
Okay, ma'am,
been
fine.
7 years.
As we all know that as we have cleared to our audience that today our topic is going to be the poetry and its effect on the emotions. So, are your views that is the poetry really that much influential that it can trigger the emotions of a person like the music do? Does it really happen? As you are a good
Yes,
writer, you have
it
been
does
writing
have.
since a long time.
Yes, it does happen because even as a poet, when I read on Insta other people's poems before writing my own, instantly touches a deep chord. See, everyone has gone through something. There's no individual who has not gone through some kind of
Yes, ma'am.
wound, hurt,
Absolutely,
whatever.
absolutely.
So we don't know what touches whom. And my poems, I always envisage that it touches someone's something deep within, whether it's your wound or some experience, something. Like even the
Yes, ma'am.
cartoons, the other day I was writing about cartoons. It was so ironical, though it's just cartoons. And so many of my own childhood memories came back to me, like simple, sweet things, which I didn't even remember for so many years, for the last 20, 30 years of my life. But when I saw Scooby Doo, Tom and Jerry, all that, it was an instant rush. Similarly, when I read about different things before penning down my own, I feel so many things just come out. We don't even realize a human buries his hurts between layers of tissue as well. The
Yes,
deeper
ma'am.
the hurt, the deeper it gets embedded in the system. It's not the first layer. It's like an onion which needs to be peeled. So imagine in the onion, that's how a human psychology, the psyche is within. So we are, the deeper the hurt, the deeper the burial. It's gone and embedded deep within the system. So I feel when you listen to music, touching lyrics, or you read a very beautiful piece. See, the poem doesn't have to be a sonnet. It doesn't have to be some from a renowned writer or poet or playwright. But the thing is,
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
something which has to touch your soul. It could be anyone. There is no hierarchy in poets or poems. It can be anyone, even a child, a seventh standard child could have written a full line poem which could touch
Yes,
me
ma'am. Yes.
or anyone out there. So of course it does play a very strong role.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, being a writer, what will be your suggestions as you would have been writing from a long period of time? What are your suggestions for the young writers who are beginners in this field? What are your suggestions for them? What should they do and what shouldn't they do to get a good name in this field?
See, firstly, my belief is a little different. Today also when I write, I don't write for appreciation at all. I
Yes,
just
ma'am.
write because I want to write. I write because
Yes,
that's my passion. I write
yes, ma'am.
because I enjoy it.
So
That
if
should
someone
be
someone
the
wants to turn it professional, so I'm talking in that way. If someone wants to turn it
yeah.
professional, wants to continue it.
Yes.
So what are your
See, first
suggestions?
you have to explore your field. First, get into writing. First,
Yes, ma'am.
let your thoughts flow. Once the
Yes, ma'am.
flow is out, once you've got the hang of it, you yourself will start improvising. Connect with fellow writers. Connect with right kind of people who will be the best critique. See, you need a
Yes,
little bit of criticism as well, healthy criticism. You need to go to the right source, not someone who's going
yes,
to demotivate you. First,
yes, ma'am.
explore, see how you are going to be. Give yourself 6 months. Write on various topics. See every poet and writer genre is very different. Even in
Yes,
the poetry community today, you see there are so many forms of poems. Till today, I, as a poet, struggle with haiku because I'm always missing the syllable count. Either I'm going overboard, I'm going, writing lesser than that. But I'm improvising, I'm learning. So,
yes.
as such, in this, it's always a learning. Every day is a learning. There's never a point where you can say, okay, you've got it. So, you just have to keep exploring, learning, seeing where your interest lies, how well you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
do in that field.
So, ma'am, you have been in the Kuwait and then you came to the Hyderabad as you have spent your childhood there. So, what you feel that is the poetry more prevalent there outside the India or in the India? And what was the difference if it was same in the both the places? What was the difference in the poetry there, and what was the difference of the concept of the poetry here?
See, back then I was just learning poetry in school. And
Yes, ma'am.
when you learn it in school, it's very different. And back then, I don't think there was so much of awareness about this. But lately, in the last 5 to 7 years, I suddenly see, it's really picked up. Why? In the last 1 year, I've seen on Instagram itself how poems are just picking up. They're such young poets, 17 odd. So I don't think then it was, a lot of that. There were a few selected ones who used to just do it, in the form of narration and mostly what we learned in school, William Blake or Wordsworth, Lord Byron, the regular ones.
Yes, ma'am.
P.B. Shelley and all that. But now I see so many more coming in, so many more poets we had not heard of, so much more in the form of poems coming. So I feel definitely India is progressing more today. We are doing
Okay,
a
ma'am.
better
Fine.
job.
There is a matter of concern, another matter of concern which I would like to ask you here, as it is much related to our topic, but still I would like to ask because it is the need of the hour. As there are the growing trend of the anthologies being published by the teenagers recklessly, what are your views on it? Does it strengthen their pen or fade it away in the shadow of show?
See, honestly, I'm not in the favor of anthologies at all because I
Uh-huh.
was approached initially. I'm approached day in and day out, and I very politely say no. Because, see, firstly, you are sharing your space with other authors, and honestly, how many people are going to really read it? How many people are going to really appreciate it? You rather have contest. I feel you have poetry contest, poem prompts, where at least you're giving them a chance, and people are participating wholeheartedly. I see this. The anthologies have come up, and people are just going in and out about it. But I honestly don't support it much. I'm not in favor of anthologies at all. It's my
Yes,
own
ma'am.
opinion. I'm
As we have seen from the past few years, as I am witnessing in the Kashmir, see, so much young writers who don't have even yet wrote 10 or 15 poetries are just coming to the anthology, just publishing their poetry. So isn't it somehow degrading and that separate of that poetry, that small poet who hasn't, who don't even know the this and that of the poetry is coming away to the anthology. So isn't it somewhat degrading that separate of the poetry which has been maintained from the years by the great poets?
exactly. And what is happening is they come up with other great poets, say, poems, and their effort is nil, and it's becoming very commercial. So the whole, the flavor, the essence, it's all lost because
Yes,
once
ma'am.
it becomes commercial, then
Yes,
I don't
ma'am.
know, it somehow doesn't hold much value, and everyone is
So,
coming up with it.
so what are your
And I've
suggestions for those writers who have the guts to write? So, what would you feel that what should they do?
I have actually told quite a few people who had approached me for anthology. I think they didn't much like it because they didn't approach me again. I told them point blank. I said, look, I don't support this at all. You tell me you want me to write. I will just write an article and give you. Publish it. You just tag me. I don't even want any recognition. You just tag me on Insta and say I've written this article. That's about it. But I'm not participating in any anthology. Some said, ma'am, we won't charge you anything. I said it's not about the money.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
not
That's
about the
becoming a
money.
trend that they are saying
Yeah,
that it's just free, just go for it. But they are not
yeah.
understanding the fact that I'm wasting my words. I'm wasting my words to the source where no one is
Yeah.
going to read it.
No, I really don't support that. I feel you should just have a platform where every all the poets are interacting with each other. We do poem prompts. You can have articles coming up, write-ups where you give them, just a topic, a story starter, or you can make it interesting by just giving an ending and saying, build a
Yes, ma'am.
story on that. So there's so many interesting things they can come, and anthologies are becoming so boring and monotonous. Every
Yes,
day I get two, three, two, three, two, three. How many are you going to participate?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's absolutely right. So, at last but not least, I would like to ask you that if someone really wants to be a professional writer, if someone really wants to be completely to a part of the writing, so what should he do at the age of 17, 18 when he's in the 10th or 12th class, as you have been a teacher from a since a long period of time, so you might be knowing that what should he do at this age of the 10th, 12th to become a professional writer?
I feel you should start writing short paragraphs, write-ups, just explore. See what, I had written many articles. Some of my articles had got published then when I was in 12th grade for a youth magazine. I used to just take up topics from the ICSE question papers. They would come
Yes,
up
ma'am.
with very good essay topics, and I would just explore it. And I had just shown it to my English teacher, and she had sent it to one of the youth magazines in Kerala back then. And they liked my whole article. They edited and they just published it. So just explore the topic, start writing, do your editing, and see how much you are able to write. Start with a short paragraph, build on it, start doing stories. You can do short story writing.
Okay,
And
ma'am, fine. At the final, your words to the youth are that they should improve day by day their writing and feel in themselves that when they are really capable to publish their own book, at that time they can go for that. But at this age, when they are at the beginning of the writing, they shouldn't go through the anthologies which will fade away their guts of writing. So, ma'am, what are your views on the shared pen official? The platforms like this are continuously grooming in the Jammu and Kashmir and all over the India, which are providing platforms to the young blooming writers. So, what are your views on the official for these platforms? How can they keep going and build such platforms to the higher level?
the best thing I like about your platform is the words you all come up. I really enjoy writing Urdu and English poems for your page. As you've noticed, the minute it comes out, my poems uh, are there on your page. I think what you all are doing is magnificent, because the best thing is you all come up with very nice words, very unusual. So in a way, you're doing vocabulary building, and I would suggest you can start short story writing uh,
Yes, ma'am.
competitions. You can give them a line to build on it. Either you can start with a poem story. Poem stories, like I've started one on my page, where I have started around the 18th century with ballroom dancing, and I'm
Yes,
trying
ma'am.
to build a whole story through a poem. So we can, explore things like that. You can give a line where a person is building the whole story around it, either in a short write up or a poem story, or like endings where you are changing the whole story. So there are a lot of things where you can make them explore through writing a shorter piece and poems.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. As it's being said that every poet who comes into the field of writing has something happened in his life which compels him to write. So, what was your scenario in that case which compelled you to write for the first time? What were the emotions which made you take the pen and write? Was that the lack of the social interaction that the social interaction has nowadays decreased as we are not able to share the things with the friends, or was it something else?
No, it was a lot of things which happened with women around me, which always wanted me to speak a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
So yes, that is one thing which I always wanted to write when I couldn't share. And the other thing is nature motivates me a lot. So it was always something to do with nature. And as you see in all my poems, you'll find coffee somewhere, because I'm a coffee addict. Somewhere there'll be a line on coffee or a word. But more than that, it's the social issues which always made me want to speak or write about. So, whether it was domestic abuse or child marriage, or uh, girls not being able to educate themselves properly, gender bias. So, a lot of issues prevalent with women, which always made me very angry. And you could say they are the ones which really make me want to write more today.
Yes, ma'am. I'm really happy that you have started the writing out of the to raise your voice against the abuses which are being happening in the society against the child, against the women. But nowadays, I am witnessing that the girls who are coming towards writing in their good range are just writing about the love, and the poetry is being restricted somehow to the love and the feelings of the patch ups, breakups, and all these things. So, what are your views on this? That should we only restrict it to here, or get it to the another level for which the poetry was being really made?
See, in the world, compassion, love, humility,
Yes,
um,
ma'am.
humanness, all go hand in hand. Love cannot be segregated. Love is
Yes, ma'am.
vital. It
This
is
can be the part.
important.
This can be the part, but we
Yes,
cannot
these
wholeheartedly take it to the.
yes, but it should only be concentrated on that. Yes, see, exactly like you said, it's love, it's breakup, it's all that. It depends on what the poet is going through, right? So
Yes,
what
ma'am.
they are going through is going to come out in there. work. So maybe at that time the poet is going through something. That's his way
Yes,
of
ma'am. I
ventilating.
completely accept that if a person is going through something, he will pen down the same thing. But
Yeah.
the thing which I want to make it clear here that यहाँ पे जो कश्मीर में ज्यादातर मैंने देखा तभी इंसान लिखना शुरू कर देता है when he suffers through these things. अगर उसका कोई अब्यूज हो जाता है किसी लड़की के साथ कोई अब्यूज हो जाता है someone is insulting or someone is doing anything like that, she won't write. But whenever she comes to this phase of life, whenever she faces the love breakups and all these things, she takes the pen and writes. So this is becoming a concept that whenever you face these things, you have to write a poetry. And when she faces the another things, the family pressure, the other things, the pain of the which the women go through, so no one is writing about that here, and everyone is writing whenever they go through the breakups and all these things. So this is becoming a clear conception in the minds of the youth that we have to write only on these issues. So what are your
So
views
that,
on?
yeah, so that we have to break the pattern, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am, we have to trend it.
Yes, we have to break the pattern. We have to break the stigma. Why is it prevalent in Kashmir? Why is it happening like that again and again? Why are the girls feeling so suppressed that only when they come up to the point of breaking up that they start penning down? Why not before? Why not when the pressure is tremendous on them to marry? Why not when other things are happening? See, it's not
Yes, ma'am,
only
which are the main things? Yes, ma'am.
So yes, because you are living there, you feel it's more, it's a trend there, but it is happening everywhere, right?
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, at last, we will like to hear a few words from you. So, what are the books which you recommend to the youngsters, which they should go through, which will improve their writing, and what are the books which will inspire them to write more and more, and which inspired you in the days when you were at the teenage, which inspired you to write? So, what are the big books you suggest to the youngsters and the authors you suggest them to check out so that they can keep going with the full passion in their writing?
See, I read a lot of classics. I read Shakespeare, I read Shaw because that was a part of my course material. But I used to read a lot. I would just read anything under the sun, from Chicken Soup for the Soul to Anita Desai to Frederick Forsyth to Sidney Sheldon, anything under the Barbara Cartledge, anything, whatever I could get my hands on, I would read. So the thing is, there's nothing specific, because each one's interest will always vary. Someone will like a thriller, someone will like romantic novel, someone will just like simple motivational
Yes,
books.
ma'am. Yes,
So
ma'am.
what
I'm just asking that what can improve their writing? What are the books which you suggest that which can improve their writing, which can improve their vision, which can improve their view of looking towards the nature and other things?
so
Some
that
book
for
which,
that I could suggest you should always pick up a book with good vocabulary,
yes, ma'am.
a book which has very good vocabulary with
Yes, ma'am.
good English. Doesn't have to be very, very, with very fancy words, but simple English, good vocabulary. See, with my students, I read a lot of Sudha Murthy books for them because the way she deals with it, it's beautiful. Simple English, very, very explained, and it's very, very motivational. There's always an underlying message. So maybe for the younger children, I would suggest Sudha Murthy. As they grow older, maybe the classics, if they can read, would be very good, because those classics teach us a lot. Charles Dickens, Oliver Twist, and Jane Eyre, Emily Bronte books. All these are very, very nice. It's like you're saying, a lot of these, for especially for the girls, the ones who are wanting to get into this line, for them these books are really helpful. Jane Eyre. So all the classics, if they can read it once, would be really good. And Chicken Soup for the Soul, very, very good. The
Yes, ma'am.
stories are
It was really good time having you here. So we will look for the next time. We will like to have you here, as it was a very, very and very informative video for all our viewers. And so thank you for giving us your time. And next time we will inshallah get you again here on this platform for our viewers. Till then, take care. Fi amanillah.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.